Okay, so welcome everyone to our SEWI Adult Public Programming Meeting. I'm Laurie Freund from the Bridges Library System, and I'm also the coordinator for the SEWI, which is Southeastern Wisconsin Library Systems Programs and Events. Angela Myers is also from Bridges, and she will be assisting with this online meeting. So if you can see her, she's waving. I know some of you have your webcams on, some of you don't. Do whatever you feel comfortable at this point, but you can turn on your camera and unmute yourself at any time. To see those options, you can actually move your cursor toward the bottom of the Zoom screen, and you will see the mute and the video too. If you you can also click on a chat if you wanted to say something that way. You're welcome to do that too. Okay. So we are recording this meeting, so in case somebody misses it, or someone couldn't come, they'd be able to see what we talked about. So in the chat box that I showed you, if you can find it, and then go ahead and just say hi and say what library you're from.
Hello.
Hi.
Take my mask off here. And join with video here. Okay. Oh.
Great. So great. We have from Thor, Edgerton, Bayview Branch, Milwaukee Public Library. Great. Elkhorn, Heartland, Whitewater. Great. We have a variety of people. Brownsville. Oh. Oregon. That's great. Plymouth. Wonderful. St. Francis. Yep, we're getting more people in. So this is wonderful. Okay, well, as you keep doing that, just want to say that with the ongoing pandemic, we usually have these meetings in person, and we move it around the region. But this year, because of the ongoing pandemic, since that it's going on, that we are changing this and using Zoom to connect. And we have also the shift of the focus is on public programs that you're trying to do for adults during this pandemic time. And we have some questions, and it's going to be really, they're encompassing the questions that all of you have submitted in one way or another. So we will be using Jamboard, and we'll be using Zoom breakout rooms for some small group discussions. So we'll be showing you some of that as we go. So first off, we're going to start off with some polling questions. And so Angela, I'm going to need you to start off with the first question. If you can actually post that for everybody.
It should be up on the screen now.
Can people see it? Okay, you can go ahead and answer, respond to that. Angela, could you read the question out loud?
One second, it's kind of cut off. Okay, since COVID-19 pandemic, my library has been providing no public programs, no in-person socially distanced public programs only, virtual public programs only, such as live virtual social media posts and responses, posted passive programs or games or contests, telephone call-in programs, or a mixture of virtual and in-person public programs. So we have 100% of people have voted, so I'm going to end the polling and I will share the results. So on your screen, you should see that the majority selected virtual public programs only with 79%. And then 1% or 5% said no public programs, and then 16% said a mixture of virtual and in-person programs. No one selected in-person only.
Okay. Can everybody see that? Great.
Are we ready for number 2?
Let's go for number 2.
Okay. How are you selecting adult public programs and topics? This one's multiple choice. From surveys and suggestions from patrons and community members, we have a plan and procedure for selecting programs and program topics. We just try different programs and see what works. We work with our friends group. We work with other community groups or other. Okay, I see 6 responses so far. 8. I know you're out there. Give it another 10 seconds. Okay, and here are your results. 89% said we just try different programs and see what works. 33% we work with other community groups, and it looks like the rest are split by 11%. Remember, this is a multiple choice, so it won't add up. From surveys and suggestions from patrons and community members, we have a plan and procedure for picking programs. We work with our friends group and other. I think we're curious about what the other, if you don't mind chatting in or voicing your answer. How do you pick those programs? Oh, librarian interest and expertise. Yep.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I think we have one more question.
Yep. The third question is, how has your funding stream for supporting adult public programs changed since the pandemic? And your answer choices are, they've stayed the same, less funding for public programs, or more funding or new funding sources. Okay, most of the votes are in. Okay, most of you have said they have stayed the same with 67%. Less funding for public programs, 33%, and more funding or new funding sources, 0%. Not too much of a surprise, I don't think.
Okay, well, thanks for participating in those questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to be going into discussion groups, small group discussions. And but we're going to be using Jamboard. That's a newer tool. I don't know if anybody has used that before, but I'm going to put a link to that in the chat box.
Fortunately, you don't have to have any musical expertise to use it.
Yes, right.
Don't worry.
Oh, great. I see some people have joined in Jamboard. Great. think almost everyone's there. Great, and Angela is going to go through and just give you an introduction to what Jamboard looks like and what you can do with it. So take it away.
Okay, hopefully you can see my screen with my Jamboard. So on here we have 6 different Jamboards. Or I think there's actually 5. The 6th one is mysterious. They're all the same, just they indicate the different breakout rooms that you'll be in. So you'll see that on the top here. And if you go to the first one, let's just pretend we're all in breakout room 1. We're all going to answer these questions as a breakout room. So question 1 is, how are you providing adult public programs? What do these programs look like? And so you have the option of these different items on the left-hand side. You can pen it in. So you could say Zoom. If you're like, wow, that looks horrible, you can erase it. You can do sticky notes. And you can change the color on those. The nice thing about Jamboard is everything is anonymous, if you will. So you're not going to know that this was you saying this unless you identify it. If we want to add pictures, if that's how we want to express ourselves, we can do that just by using Google image search or pulling from our own computers. Oh, look at those babies.
Oh,
So that's how we're providing programs, is by giving away kittens. Let's say you agree, maybe you want to circle this person's answer, but you don't want to hide it. So you want to go to the order button and then send this circle to the back. Send to back, okay? Or you could even do an arrow to it. So there's different things that you can do on here. How we did these text boxes is just by adding a regular text box. So kind of like publisher. So if you're more of you just want to type, you can do that. And then this is more of a cursive kind of a thing that you can do. So that is how you're going to use the Jamboard. We want you to answer questions 1, and then the one with the asterisk is kind of like the secondary part of question 1. Question 2, what types of programs or topics are now popular? And if you get to question 3, this can really be based on your group. What questions do you have for each other? So go ahead and fill that in and just do your best to get through questions 1 and 2, and then 3 would be kind of bonus points. So depending on which breakout room you are assigned to, you'll find that in the upper left-hand corner of your Zoom breakout room. Once you're placed in one, you're gonna go to that corresponding Jamboard. And if you wanna snoop on other people, you just do this little arrow and you can bump over to theirs. All right, that's all I have for Jamboard. Oh, wait, one more thing. If you really want to customize, you can add a background. But if you're like, oh, that's way too busy, you can just go back to a white background. That's Jamboard.
okay, thanks, Angela. Yeah. So I'm going to send you all into breakout rooms, and then you'll be there for about 15 minutes, and I'll let you know when I'm bringing everybody back in, and we can just talk about the question number 1, and then I'll send you back into the same rooms, and then we'll go on to the next question. So, are you? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, great. Are you ready? Here we go.
If you have a question, there's a help button on the bottom of your breakout room. You can always ask Lori or I to come in and answer questions.
I'm sorry, my computer died. How are we to know which slide we should work on? Oh, thanks, I see.
It'll be a corresponding number with your breakout room inside of the Jam.
Nicole, I can send you that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I would just need your email.
Okay, I'll put it in the comments.
You want?
So how did it go, everybody? for the first question. It looks like there was quite a bit of activity going on. And even for some of the ones I know that didn't have a lot of post-its or notes or whatever, I know there were a lot of discussions going on.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest one in each group? I mean, for group one, what was the biggest thing that you talked about as far as how you're providing public programs? Anyone?
There was, we definitely touched on virtual burnout for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think one of the things for group one that was a really big seller and had a lot of people viewing was stuff that got people up and moving, like exercise things. A couple of libraries in our group said they did something with yoga virtually. And I think that probably gets people's attention more because it gets them up and moving and not just sitting there looking at a screen to be
Okay.
interactive.
Okay, great. What about group two? What was the, I love the yikes. What was the biggest thing that came out as far as providing public programs right now? Anyone from group two?
We had a lot of, we didn't have one common theme. I mean, we're all doing Zoom programming. Book clubs was pretty common. We like the idea of doing take-home programs that don't require technology because of Zoom fatigue as well. So like take-home crafts and kits, things like that.
Okay, yeah, looks like a variety there. Okay. What about group three? Breakout room 3. Anyone? What was the biggest things that came out of your discussions for the how you providing programs?
So we talked about, the different formats that people providing programs and kind of the advantages and disadvantages of, Zoom versus GoToMeeting versus Zoom webinar versus posting things on YouTube or Facebook Live. And it seemed like we were all doing kind of a variety of programs from, synchronous, Zoom sessions to like posting things and having folks watch later. To one-on-one. So we kind of talked about all those varieties of different things folks were doing.
Okay, great. Okay, what about breakout room 4, group 4? What were the big discussions that came out regarding public programs, providing those?
I nominate Diane to speak for us.
Go for it, Diane. You have to unmute yourself.
I didn't write anything down, so we talked about doing. I missed this part where you talked about the book club programs. We talked about presenters. One library system they do where they're having all the branches have the same program, kind of like we're doing with the Colossal Fossil program coming up in Bridges. And we talked just about what programs are popular, like at Whitewater, we found that our craft or make and take crafts are popular.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, and then we have group 5. What was the big discussion happening in your room about how you're providing adult public programs?
Just seemed like book clubs were going well, and then most of us were using Zoom for any kind of programming. That's what most of the post-its were about.
Okay, okay, great. I know we need to move along, so you know what? I'm going to send you back into all of your rooms, and then we're going to go for the question 2 of what types of programs or topics are popular right now. So I'm opening those up, and you can go to your rooms.
Anyway, creative bug videos are just too intense.
Okay.
And too intense, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unlike there were a lot of good discussions on the boards, there were just a lot of activity. So, and a lot of you got to question 3. Some of you were still, might have been talking about the other ones. But anyway, so we're going to be wrapping things up because I know it's already getting to 2 o'clock. Just a quick nod, how did you like this, using a new tool? This is something new that we're doing too, so kind of, yeah.
It worked. It
Yeah.
worked.
No. I didn't get it.
Okay, well, like anything, it's something new. I'll do a follow-up email with everybody. And otherwise, you have the link to the board, and you can take a look and see what the other groups have, how they've responded, and what their question 3 might have been, or what the question 3 was. And
How do we access the recording?
well, yeah, I'll be ending the recording, and then I'll send you guys a link too.
Oh, the link. Okay,
Mhm.
thanks.
Okay, so we're going to end it now. Thank you so much for joining us and trying some things new. You got some new tools and see, and we'll gather around again. Okay,
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
group 4.
Thank you.